and so we have kind of as much balance as possible. We're gonna get 2 new members eventually, and then there might be some hat trading or not, so, but it allows us to know kind of, are we specifically missing someone that we need to find to fill the last 2 slots? So if you can pass me the bill. Sorry, I was gonna do this under the next item, but I thought while we're introducing ourselves, everybody's gonna be thinking, hey, what hats do we have and what hats do we need? So the idea is that there's 2 electricians, 2 plumbers, 2 HVAC, 1 contractor, general contractor, and 1 design professional. So that's sort of the idea of the composition of the board. So thanks for letting me do that, Mike.
Yeah, and moving forward, and I don't know how hard, so adding it in past, Craig and I talked a little bit about having a site prep guy on, as a member of the board, especially with stormwater becoming as big as it is. I think they would be a big value as far as sediment and stormwater go.
Sounds good. Okay, thanks.
So we have quite a few more people to get on the
2.
board then, right? Is it 2 more?
Right. Because we do have 2 electricians.
Right.
And you also do other things, and you also, I'm just thinking, if everybody sort of claims a hat now, then we'll see what we need to ask for at the end.
And Bill, how will it work bringing in those other 2 members? Is that something we suggest and the commissioners approve, or does it have to go through the commissioner's office?
Commissioners are the ones who make the selection, so I'm just gonna let them know sort of what slots we don't have.
Okay.
And sometimes they will say, hey, can the board make suggestions? Sometimes they already have folks that they're talking to, so,
As long as Mr. Baldwin's involved, he's a master of plumbing, heating, and electric. So you're not, and I'm plumbing and heating, you know what I mean? So currently, I would just say, you might probably bring more people in, but right now, you're kind of met the standard.
Right.
Except for the site prep guy.
Right. And it's a 7-member board, so we need 5 folks to have a quorum. So when you have 7, then when someone does need to be away,
Yeah.
we still can do stuff, so.
Right, absolutely.
But I'm glad. I think it is a well-composed board already, I would agree.
Yeah.
And to kind of give you guys an idea of the electrical board's role, one of the things that came up was new legislation from the state and what they were going to do and how they were going to handle limited electricians and residential electricians moving forward. And, we spent several months discussing that and how the county was going to handle it. And the county assumed it would be best to follow the state's guidelines, and that's what we do. While there's still a few other counties out there doing their own thing, but, just to give you an idea, we sat down in the meet and kind of talked through that. So any other, that's the type of problems that kind of come up that we address.
I'm curious to hear about what you do and your businesses and,
Oh, well,
Your
I
interests.
feel like I'm the least qualified person to be here. I don't really do a lot of I'm design, decorative.
That's one on the list.
So, but, with permitting, I'm not really dealing with that much, but yeah, we're pretty much the only game in town, so we're really busy. And we opened in September, and we've already completed 2 projects. And people keep calling.
Great.
And it's great, and we love working with the trades. We do that a lot. We're working with KRM. We worked with Jeremy Coleman. So I love forming these partnerships.
And where's your business? Is it based out of Chestertown? I feel like I've seen the
So
building.
we're the old Chesapeake Bank branch.
Okay, I thought
Used
so.
to be,
Yep.
right there next to H&R Block. And we
Gotcha.
bought the building, my husband and I.
Oh, really? Great.
Yes, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I noticed it the other morning when I was driving by to work.
Yeah, we're
and it-
trying to clean it up a little bit.
It's a great spot.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I've got some interesting people hanging around, but that's okay. We're getting through that.
So I'll go, anybody else? So I'm Jason Pinder. I started my own business in 2022, wherever, beside Caldwell's Tire. Bought the old Price rental building. So we're right now at 14 employees. Doing the majority of our works, 80% of it's HVAC, probably 20% plumbing. Really going in that direction. I have a partnership with another fellow from Denton. We just have minority ownership in each other's companies at this point, but Rick Connor from Denton. So we are kind of really trying to figure out like where the best strategy is, and that's why I think sitting in things like this, hearing what's going on, seeing what new codes, new adoptions of different things, of like where we can take our business. And I also think it's important because a lot of the stuff that happens around Kent County, as everybody knows, the grapevine is active. A lot of stuff's word of mouth. So anything that we have here, new amendments, new codes, new rules, I think we could help Craig out tremendously by even just posting those in supply houses. Shore Strippers and Northeastern, we put a flyer up in there saying, hey, as of this date, this is what's going to happen. I just hope that we can try to provide clarity for the people in the trades around here, because we're all busy enough. We're really not out on the same jobs, quoting jobs out. So luckily, we're fortunate there that we're not really stepping on each other's toes too much. So I've always had the rule of thumb of the friendlier you are to your competition, usually the better off it is, because usually you're not bidding against each other. But yeah, no, it's been great. I've been working in Kent County since I graduated high school from Kent County High School in '96. I think for 4 years, I don't think Vic and I worked together for, 15, 20 years. I don't think we even left Kent County for like 4 years. I think there was so much going on. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much where I am. I just want to, help if I can, try to, if there's a question, if I can help answer it. If I can't answer it right away, I love doing homework, so I can, research and do what I can, and provide whatever I can for the board.
Yeah, it's great, and that's kind of, our role as a county, we want to, be as nice and as friendly as possible. And as we were going through that process with the legislation change for the electricians, we made sure we posted it there. Every time we renew, we try to post it, downtown at the supply house. So yeah, I think that's a great way just to stay on top of things. So it sounds like we're on the same page.
And like I said, my name's David Easton. I have D&D Contracting. It's a relatively small construction company. We have 9 people working in the field. My wife, she manages the office. I'm fortunate to work with both of these guys quite often on projects, and can't thank you enough for what you bring to D&D. I work for Craig. He's my boss.
We all do, right?
The interpreter of the code, that is all.
We've been doing construction pretty much primarily in Kent County and Rock Hall for 35 years. We do very little advertising. My wife and I are also big trying to help with different projects in the county. We got one we're going to do for Betterton Firehouse. They're getting EMS service there. We've kind of all chipped in together, and we're going to do the EMS building for them for basically free. I've been in the fire service for 49 years. President of Chestertown for 6. So, Kent County, we've raised 3 kids here and been through the school systems and left Kent County, and we're just here to do what we can to help. So, I look forward to helping.
All right. Well, I'm Victor Shepard, and we, Smart Tech Electrical, have been doing electrical work since 1990. Started out with Jason's father, Wayne Pender, and 2018, which I just go back and think when that was, and we started Smart Tech Electrical and partnered up with Sunrise Solar to make an endeavor to be able to try to combine, because you can't have one without the other.
I don't think I knew that,
What's that?
that you're partnered up with Sunrise Solar.
Yes, yeah. Do, residential electrical work here in the county, do small commercial work. Kent, Queen Anne's County, we've wandered across the bridge occasionally, get to deal with the inspectors over in Anne Arundel. It's always a pleasure. Easton. Dealing with BG&E is always interesting right now because it's all online. You don't get to talk to anybody. So it makes you appreciate what we have here in the small community of Kent County and also Queen Anne's, because both of them are so much easier to work with and around. I know we hear out on the streets of, the hangups on the permitting and all, the different problems we have here in our communities, and yes, sometimes that is an issue, but compared to what I see going to other counties and so forth, it is better. So, we have a lot more hands-on and people we can reach out to. And I think having a board like this really is gonna help to where we're able to talk with the problems that we face and so forth through the whole trade. Because, if the builder's affected, it's gonna trickle down to the electrician and to the plumber and to the heat guys, and if they can't get their permits to get their job started, then it backs up everybody. And then that's, more people that aren't working, not paying taxes in the county and so forth. So I really feel like this is a great opportunity for us to be able to, one, stay involved, right? And then also be able to see, how can we help with that and with hangups and different things. So,
And Bill, I think the plan was to meet quarterly, starting off, right? But, same with the electrical board, I think if we have any big issues that come up and problems that arise, we can bump that meeting a little bit closer. Or again, if we don't have anything that's really come up, we can push it. So there's some flexibility there for problems that arise.
And traditionally, the predecessor, the electric board, would meet on first Thursdays at this time. You don't necessarily have to do that. I mean, as a group, you can kind of decide if you want to do it, per occurrence or set a different day, time, whatever works for your all schedule. So I think that date worked great for a long, long time, but it's a bigger group now, so.
yeah, I think at this point, it was just one of those things that has become natural.
Yeah, it's
right?
on the
And-
schedule already.
right. And I know for myself, I'm very much a creature of habit, right? And changing things make it interesting. So it's showing up here at 8:45 instead of 8:30. But that's, that's up to you guys, if this time works for everybody.
If it's preset date in advance, works better for me.
Right.
Then I can plan around
So
it.
if we know it's the first Thursday of whatever month we're meeting in, works for everybody? Okay.
Do you want to do first month of the quarter? That would be January, April, July, October? The first quarter meeting?
We said we'll do the first Thursday at
Of each quarter.
8:30?
Yeah.
Perfect. And I'll put together a chain email with everybody and send an update and a reminder for that.
Well, I'll continue the storytelling, because I want to hear Craig's story too.
Craig
So-
Busey with MDIA.
Uh-huh.
All of you know me. Your favorite person. My real hope with this board is to be able to get out ahead of problems, because the state will pass legislation and then not tell anybody. So the more we can spread the word on things that pop up, the better. So having a wider group is much more helpful. We'll be able to stay up to date on code changes and when that's going to happen, and you guys will be able to know, like, in advance when the state is planning on doing these things. So just a lot more transparency it was very helpful for the electrical trade, so to expand it to all trades is kind of a no-brainer, since the electrical boards don't really.
Finding out after the fact doesn't really help.
No, and like I said, if like the electrical code changes and you've already bid a job, that's gonna change, getting out ahead of things is always better.
Yeah, at one point in time, we did the testing and everything here for master electricians and plumbers, and I think that's where the board kind of
Yeah.
formed and moved, and now, since we don't do that anymore, we've morphed and, evolved into this, which is a good thing.
That's it.
Well, I'm going to say, I'm Bill Mackey, and I've been here for, it'll be 6 years in September. So I wanted to be here at the, yeah, it does go fast, yeah. I wanted to be here at your sort of first meeting and meet all you and chat with you. And Mike is gonna be the executive secretary for this board, so he will be your staff liaison and leader, along with Billy and the team. You have traditionally been the chair, so I'm just gonna call you Mr. Chair until someday you have an election, and then
Let's get that going.
so, but I'm excited to have to have you all come together, because I do think from, you know, I don't have experience in the trade, so it's hard for the department to know sometimes what to do without having your expertise, advice to help us, and you will see things out there that we won't even know are happening and can let us know, and then this body can kind of meet and help us set policy, let us know, do we need to adopt some kind of law, et cetera. So, you know, I probably won't always be at these meetings, but, you know, Michael, let me know if there's something I need to come to, because I'm generally the legislation writer, so if you guys need a law, you know, we'll work together and put that forward. I know a lot of times it's state law, but, you know, we have a delegation. If this body, you know, wants to recommend to county commissioners, hey, you know, we think you need to, you know, follow up and ask for something, that's perfectly suitable for you all to do. I think county commissioners are looking to you all to give the county good advice, and them as well, when something comes up that really needs that level of attention, so. And I imagine with all the things going on in the world of solar and other things, probably that time will come for sure, so appreciate that very much, so. Thank you for being here, thank you for your service. So, in my world, community volunteers are what make everything go around, so thank you.
And just on Billy, Billy was hired about a month ago, and he's jumped right into things, and he's doing great. I've actually, you know, in my previous role, I was the one who registered all the electricians and plumbers and kept up with our spreadsheets and everything, and Billy's taken over that role, and it's doing really well. So that's his introduction into the trades board so far.
Welcome.
But Billy has you got some experience in construction and in the trades in the past.
Built houses
Really?
for a short period of time
Nice.
before I went to corrections.
Cool.
So I spent 15 years at the county jail and had enough and was ready to try something new, and things worked out really well. And
There, right? You need to clarify.
half and half. I was such a good inmate they hired me back on. No, but yeah, I kind of fell into this role, and I really enjoyed it, and you know, had the ability to get promoted into the chief role, and I learned something new every day. I got in the floodplain manager for the county as well, which is constantly changing and evolving and keeping me on my toes. But yeah, I'll be your guys' point of contact, and I'm excited to what this board can bring to the table.
And if I can just chip in, because I know you won't say it, so when Mike started, the first thing he had to do was be the point of contact for a FEMA full community review, which is enormous. And he like finished the training, and like a week later, FEMA showed up for the audit, and he got a letter from FEMA about how well he did. He really knocked it out of the park. The guy who is now he's like up higher in FEMA now, had said, you know, we're using your community as a model because basically what Mike did. So Mike really came here, hit it out of the park, and I'm really happy that you are here, and I think this is a great board for you, because he really digs into stuff, and he'll be a great assistant to all of you. So.
Yeah, and then you guys are kind of our eyes and ears and voice to the community a little bit. So as we were talking about funneling information, I know as it gets to you, it's going to funnel out even more. So I think, you know, that'll just be great, because Kent County is still small, and word of mouth still does play a big role.
Cool. Thanks.
So I mean, we've covered the members, and you know, we've kind of discussed our role. I had passed around the trade legislation. If any of you guys want that to take home, or I can send you a link to it. There's not really much to review there.
Could you email that out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just offer, I mean, again, if there's things in the legislation you think should be revised, we can always take it back. I mean, we sort of wrote this as a team with some help from Craig, but we didn't have.
Yeah, it's just a first iteration.
Here to tell us, you know, so feel free to have a look. And I know you took a look to make sure it kind of worked for the sense of the board, so. And there's different chapters in our code, when if you want to, go to our public law, it's online. There's a chapter for each one of the trades, they're probably pretty dated. When we were writing this, it was like, boy, we need to sort of update some of these things, and I thought, I wanna wait for the board, because I don't know what to update them on. So if you guys look through our different, there's a section on housing in our public laws, there's a section on plumbing, and and they're all sort of bits and pieces of things, because state law is the big driver. So we have sort of supplemental things, and we are one of the, I think, 3 counties in the state that have special dispensation from legislature to do our own plumbing stuff. So it's like one line in state law that kind of gives us authority that only 2 other counties enjoy. So just would love to get your input. If there's things you think we should be doing, we can work on that as a project, so. Thank you, Mike.
Sure.
I have one question.
Sure.
Chief over here. So, like for Kent County, like for my master plumbing license, like I have to get, I register with you
Sure.
guys and all that stuff. How come that's not for the HVAC for Kent County?
Good question. Essentially, at this point, we're really just collecting a fee for that registration, and it's a revenue stream, and it's a way for us to make sure that everybody is licensed and has a current license, current insurance, and stuff like that. But
I can answer historically. So historically, we never had any requirements. There was no, didn't have to get a permit, didn't have to do inspection, didn't have to do anything. And in talking with Craig, I kind of, at some point, that kind of came to light, and I said, is there some reason why we shouldn't do that? And Craig was like, no, you probably should be doing it. So kind of by policy, I said, okay, well, we're gonna require the inspection from MDIA, just like all the other trades. But we don't have any law that addresses that, and I think it's because the law is old enough where it wasn't something that was addressed when it was all first evolved, so.
Right.
So if you all think there's something we should formally have, we can do that. I mean, right now, we are, MDIA is handling all of the inspections in the same system we do with electrical and plumbing. You don't come and get a permit from us, but you reach out to MDIA and they inspect the work. So that system itself could be revised.
I think that process for us works great. You know what I mean? Like, it's, Queen Anne's County is different. You have to apply for your permit before, But, I mean, it was just the other day, we had one in Kent County, and for some reason, something dropped through the hoops, and Teresa from MDIA called, and she was like, hey, make sure you do this. I mean, their relationship with MDIA is awesome. I mean, they look out for us. They're like a teammate, So it's like, I think that part of the process is good in Kent County. I kind of like that, the way it works. Because then you kind of install it, you know what you're installing. Victory has his counts, I have my counts, we can actually put accurate information down. Where in Queen Anne's County, sometimes if it's not commercial, because commercial is just all by, dollar sign, how much the project is. Sometimes you're kind of like, oh, maybe this many, so Craig doesn't have an exact count when he goes there. So I like Kent County's way of doing the permit process.
The paperwork going directly to MDIA instead of through the county, it streamlines.
is there a specific license given from the state for HVAC work?
Yes,
You have to renew that every 2 years through the state?
Every 2 years, yep. Yeah, it's a master's of HVAC. It's 4 different, it's heating, venting, air conditioning, and refrigeration.
So it's licensed the same as a plumber,
Absolutely,
electrician?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think our licensing process and our fees and everything, again, predated and was all wrapped into that testing. And the county saw it, once we stopped testing, it was still a pretty large revenue source, which is kind of why we've kept it in.
Yeah, the only reason why I asked that is because there's a lot of people that come from like Pennsylvania and Delaware, and and like I said, I try to work with the people around here.
Sure,
If we
absolutely.
can't get to it, then I'm calling somebody else from Kent County or
Local,
Queen Anne's
right.
County, and you hate seeing all these foreign trucks coming in. It's
Yeah.
like, well, maybe if we had to have a permit for that, maybe it would keep some of those guys out, if you had to be registered with the county, Just a thought, I've always wondered that, so that was like one of my questions I wanted to bring up.
No, it's a good question.
So you're asking, should we have a HVAC registration or? for the
Kind of like your
county?
plumber and electricians.
Right, which is not a bad idea.
It's it'd be something
I mean,
very
it puts
easy to
everybody on the
implement.
same playing field. least
Our
attempts to.
process, for applying for master electrician, master plumber is pretty cut and dry. You fill out an application form, you give us your state license, a current COI, and a copy of your driver's license, and
It gives them a chance to vet whoever's gonna be doing the work.
Right.
And we do check up on that, because every time we issue any building permit for, construction plans, which you review them all, then Kathy makes sure that, it is a licensed registered electrician, a licensed registered plumber, that, all that is in our system already, because you have made an application.
Same maybe with the builders.
Check that. They
Yep,
have to put
yes.
it down. We don't issue the permit till they indicate the firm doing the work.
Yeah, and there's a lot of times where they'll come in, with out-of-state ones, and then Kathy will then reach out to that plumber or electrician, let them know they need to register with the county.
Yeah. And then if there is cross-state licensure, that is handled by the state now. We don't do it, so you have to have a state license. However, you did that, and then we're able to register you. So in the past, I understood that counties were using like reciprocal rights with other states.
And there still are some
The
counties,
same set of rules.
there's still quite a few counties that are doing that.
Okay.
The counties are reciprocating with other states?
The counties are doing their own thing,
Right.
some of them.
We
Issuing
definitely see that.
licenses when they should not be. That's what it would be. It would be
It's,
a county license.
it doesn't happen often, but probably every 3 or 4 months I get an email asking for a copy of a license that somebody's trying to use for another state or something like that. I know with in electricals, it's only a few states that cross over, right? I think PA and Maryland, but Maryland doesn't cross over with Delaware or something like that.
No, it crosses,
Doesn't.
Maryland, Delaware crosses. But they will ask for a letter from your home county of good standing and so forth, as well as from the state. So when we reciprocate into different states, we, have to get the county to send a letter, which I know you've talked with Sue quite
yeah.
a bit, and then the state.
So like PA will let you reciprocate without having a PA license, essentially?
We start with the state of Pennsylvania and reciprocate there.
Okay.
Is the way we do it. That's the way it's supposed to be done. And PA's really, that's a whole different,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of counties, there's only a few counties that you have to be licensed in, and, that you have to hold a state license or anything to do mechanical work. Other counties, if you got a tool belt and a Milwaukee drill, man, you got a job. It makes it interesting when we have builders from PA come down, because they're used to doing their own plumbing, their own electrical, their own HVAC, and it makes it very interesting.
I bet.
So I'm sure you see it. And then they have to hire someone to sign off for them.
Yeah, want to walk in and go,
Yeah. So, what were we thinking?
I wonder what their insurance rates are. I mean, we get audited by ISO every 3 years for our process, right? How many years of experience are your reviewers have who are reviewing plans? How many years of experience your inspector have? All that goes into a big formula about the insurance rates that everybody in the county pays. I mean, if you've got a Wild West system, I can't imagine what that would mean for your premiums. It'd be crazy. So, and just so you know, we're the score for Maryland, there's a kind of an arch, we're right in line with all the other counties. So even though we're a little county, we're right on the number, so, which is good. I'm really proud of that we've got folks who do a good job. So,
love filling that paperwork out.
I know you do.
Favorite part of the day.
It's funny you mentioned the ISO rating. The ISO rating is also predicated on what the fire company produces as far as fire equipment, training, everything. A lot of things go into it.
I think that was their origin, wasn't it? They did the old fire maps or something. I remember reading
Yes.
about them, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. It's an interrelated system,
It is.
I remember an elected official a long time ago asked me, like, why do we have to do building permits? It was, the idea that it's safe for the community, you can get a mortgage, you can get insurance, right? I mean, at some point, without that, no bank's gonna loan money on a mystery building. So it really does tie into a much larger system that makes mortgages affordable and insurance affordable, and everyone's willing to approve things and walk ahead because they know the work was done by a professional, certified by another professional. It's not just gonna catch fire in the middle of the night spontaneously, so,
And
yeah,
if it does and it was looked at, then insurance is more likely to pay you than
right.
if it were unpermitted and, no inspections.
So moving forward, the HVAC registration would definitely be something that we can talk about. And then once we have a full quorum and, that'd be something we can get into a little bit more depth and
Maybe we
bring
can
it up for a
go ahead and
vote.
put that on the next agenda.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Yep,
Talk it through, and if it's ready for a vote at that point,
sounds good.
that starts us out.
Absolutely, gives us something.
Get the ball rolling. And maybe, for designers, we need to get permanent. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking with you. I see Craig over there going, hell.
Yeah.
These setbacks for the picture and how you hang it on the wall.
I got enough books to worry about.
He said, that looks like it was designed well.
Don't sell yourself short, because you're involved, like with a couple of those projects, you've been involved since the ground up, and you're making decisions out there that affect us.
Yeah, we help with,
So,
we're really helping with organization a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm really big on building out a process. So, what we found is on these sites, nobody's reading a spreadsheet. So,
Or code book.
exactly. So how do we get this information that everybody, homeowner, everybody signed off on? How do we get it implemented so that it's what we wanted? And I'm really working on something visual and easy to track, tracking all these decisions. I'm so tired of looking through emails. So I'm excited about that. Have that everybody, that all the trades are using.
Hopefully this will help your job
Yes.
easier to be able to design because of
Yes.
knowing the changes that
Yes.
are, coming.
Yes, and there's so much technology out there that we're not really using. Every guy on a job site has a phone. So I'm looking into like QR codes that are live updated with decisions, like fixtures. And whoever's managing the job site can just scan it and boom, everything's right there. So that'll be exciting.
Great.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something to say that at one time, long ago, this county allowed homeowners to do their own electrical work and to do their own plumbing work if they signed an agreement with us. So I made another policy decision and said, we're not doing that anymore. So everybody has to have a licensed electrician or plumber, whether you're the homeowner, the builder, or whoever you are, it doesn't matter. You need a professional in the trade to do the work. So just so you know, so people may still have the impression that that's allowed, but that's not allowed. But we
Very
had
much
2 calls.
appreciated.
Still get approached on it.
Huh?
I said, we still get asked that question.
It has,
from
it's only
homeowners.
been probably about a year since we cut it off, but we were only maybe permitting, 1 or 2 every year. But even then, it was just a loophole for somebody to try and backdoor in a rental property or something like that and do some work and save their money, so
My
it was
brother's an
definitely.
electrician from out of the county, and he can come in there and do it, and we're like, no, get somebody else.
we had one the other day where, that's why I think HVAC, it's like we have our meetings at our shop, and I sit down and talk to the guys, I'm like, just remember, I always try to end with, we're lighting controlled fires in people's houses. Like, that's how important their job is, right? Like literally, we're lighting fires in people's houses, And that's why I think the HVAC thing should come to the forefront. Like, I think it's important to have some checks and balances. Just because we went out on a call the other day, had a company come out of Pennsylvania, come down and install a furnace last summer, natural gas furnace, in Kent County. Well, guess what we don't have in Kent County? And they hooked a propane line to it and
Oh, wow.
it burned it. The whole secondary heat exchanger was melted, and thank goodness those people were there to smell it, to shut it off, Like, where's the checks and balances there? You know what I mean? So it's pretty serious stuff we do, and taking it serious, I think, is a primary concern, in my opinion.
Well, safety.
Yeah.
Well, if everybody's good. I think we're good to adjourn. I think it was a positive first meeting. It was great to get to know everybody and learn a little bit about what you do in the county, and we've got some stuff to put on the next agenda. So as of right now, the meeting would be the first Thursday of October at 8:30.
Okay.
And I'll make sure I send a meeting invite to everybody, as well as I'll send this material to you through an email as well, so you guys have it.
Sounds good.
And in the past, because there's a couple of times this has happened with boards, what I do is I do a summary of the meeting, so then the full board can adopt a summary. It's not minutes, because it wasn't an official meeting, but it's sort of a summary of what occurred, so that'll be pretty brief, but at least there'll be something online on
Sounds-
record if someone wants to check, so.
Sounds good.
All righty. Thank you.
Great,
very
yep,
much.
thanks everybody for coming out.
We don't have to adjourn or anything, do we?
I think, no,
Feels good.
When? So from,
Because I was
Oh,
a
08.
district court commissioner, and you are very familiar.
from '08.
You look familiar.
Yes,
Yeah.
you both look familiar.
From '08 to '22.
Yeah, I think I was '06 to '08.
Yeah.
Yes, so we had some overlap.
I'll send you a link.
Has like,
Nice meeting you, sir.
Yeah.
yes. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for your service, guys. It's gonna have to fall.
Well, me too. We're in it
You're
together.
just killing. Learn this.
Getting gooder all the time, huh?
Yeah. So you're Billy.